Okay, if you've watched the first video, you should be at about this point here with a standard Windows free project, and you've got a ladder rung with a variable and a coil. So with these, note that these are all in my local variables. So if you double click on the local variables, we have them here. These are local to just this program. They're only used in this bit of ladder over here. So we'll just close that window. Another little we get lots of tabs up here, so you have all sorts of the different views of things up here. Again, if you get yourself all confused and you've lost all your windows and it's all disappeared, then you can go up here in Tools, it's Window, and you go Reset Window Layout, which will take you back to your defaults that the project starts at. So there it is. Now notice the toolbar is by default a little wee fly in, fly out box that when you hover over it, it comes out for you. So you can choose to have that pinned in the side if you want. So this little clip's about getting your project up and running. So I'm just going to make a bit more space here so we can see what's going on. So before you try and simulate this and make it run, first of all, obviously you need to build it and make sure it works. So we'll build the solution. So I always try and build things as I go. So this is the first ladder, so we're going to build this and see that it works. So the output's down the bottom there. So build succeeded, so it's good. So that's fine, so it's built. Now before we try and simulate it, if we simulate this, it's not going to do anything much for us because it's looking for a processor that's online. So if you're testing and just simulating things, you actually need to change this one up here to simulation. And the other thing you need to check is over here in the properties. We'll pull this up a bit. If you click on the resource, now if this hasn't got a properties window, then down the bottom here, properties, and that'll bring it up. So it gives you the properties window here, so we'll just make that bigger. Now this down here, online behavior, it's got a box as well. Now you can tell it that you only want it when you're in design mode or debug, or only to run when you're in simulation, or always. For what I'm doing here, then I set this down to online being always in the properties of the resource. So that means that when I run the simulation up here, it's going to be running things. So I'm going to test this bit of ladder first. So we'll start debugging this, and it goes off, it's built it, and it's running. So it was a very, very simple program. Now it's telling me that this rung is off because it's blue. So again, we'll make a bit of space here. So you can look at variables. So it's online because the simulation is running and we're all going. We could play with it in here, but what I like to do with these is if you've got the variables, if you right click in these, you can add them to the spy list. Now this is a live list of variables that's going on. So we've added var1. That variable used to be here, is no longer, so I'm going to take that out. So we've got var1. So this is our XIC on the input. Now as it's in the spy list, we can interact with it in simulate mode. So if we click that, it turns it on and we get the run going red. Okay, and we can click it off, so we can actually test our logic here. Again, if we wanted to, we could add the coil to the spy list as well. So we'd see it change in the list here. So that lets us simulate the ladder. So up here we'll stop the simulation. So you'll notice that if you're working in ladder, you've got all the toolbox here. So I'm going to add a branch here. Just bungs it around the variable, and then I'm going to add another direct contact in here. So I didn't give it a variable, and I don't have a variable for it, so I'm just going to add another one in here while we're at it. So it's a boolean I want, so I'm going to call it var02. Okay, and I'm going to select that variable to go with that element, so var02. So again, if we want to simulate it, I'm going to hit the simulate button, and it's going to say, would we like to build? Yes, please. So build, no errors, it's all good. So there we go, it is blue. You can see the nominal power coming in here as it's running its scans. So I'm going to add var2 to the spy list. So we'll make this window a little bit bigger so we can see it. So we've got the coil and the two variables. So now if I tick this, then it shows us that var2 going true is going to drive the coil out. And again, var1 going true is going to drive it. And again, this is an OR. So this is a Boolean OR. One or the other needs to be true. And if both of them are true, then that's fine. It's quite happy with that. So that's ladder. So that's a very quick simulate for the ladder. So if I want a little bit of structured text, we'll just add one. So we'll add, so that's, it's flown out of the side there. So we'll just, I'm going to move the Solution Explorer. I'm going to move that because you can put these things wherever you like them. So I'm going to move that over to this side so we can see what's going on. So my programs, here we go. So we're going to add a new structured text. So we're going to go structured text. The properties are now over here. So I'm going to call it first st. So there we have it. And you'll see down here it has local variables. Okay. And it has none of them at the moment. There is none there. So the thing with structured text, so we'll open that. So it comes in here, it's got nothing. And again, no variables, no nothing. So your standard control things in structured text are if-thens. So I'll have the if. So, and we're going to have, I'm going to call it var1 again. Now it's trying to find me a var, but if I just go var1, so it's looking for a Boolean. So if var1, then, okay, we want the then, and we're going to say lamp, which is a variable that doesn't exist yet, takes on the value of true. And then we say, oh, we're missing a few semicolons. So then we say else, lamp takes on the value of false, or if I could type, there we go, semicolon. It'll grumble at us if we get them in the wrong place. And then we end, we want an end if. Okay. I guess end if. Let's see what we get here. End if. There's an underscore in it. Missed it. End underscore if. So I better make that all caps because it's just going to click it. There we go. End if. So this is a standard var statement. Now in structured text, it's not going to insist you have these variables. Now if we try and build this, it's going to complain. So we need to save it undefined. So there aren't variables there for those because we haven't defined them. So we actually need to put them in. So structured text won't force you to put or ask you to put variables in like the ladder does. So you may need to put them in. So var01 and lamp. So two booleans for our inputs and our outputs. So note they're local variables to the structured text. So they're here. They're only local to the structured text. They're called the same thing, but they're different variables because they're associated with different programs. They're local. So now, if we try to build this, okay, succeeded. No problems. So our structured text is working. So that's fine. That's not a problem. So now we should be able to simulate the structured text. So it's also simulating the ladder. So we've still got all these vars over here. And you'll see over here, this is down in resource 1, my first program. So this is the ladder. So if we want to look at var1 over here, then it's a separate var1, and you'll see over here in the resources, it's over in first structured text. So here's the var1 here. And if we want to look at lamp, we right click it, add it to our spy list, and there it is. So if we tick on this one, then var1 goes true, it's a boolean, okay, and then lamp goes true. So if we untick the var1, then the lamp goes out, because else, if this isn't true, then we set the lamp to false. So this turns this lamp on and turns the lamp off. Now this var1 up here is a boolean. Now it could be any boolean expression in here. So we'll stop this. So if we added an AND here and we added var02, now we don't have a var02 and it's text, so it's not going to enforce it, so we need to add one, var02. So if we said var1 and 2 then, so if we now save this and run it, okay, so it should be fine. So you can put any expression in there that you like. So let's have a wee look. Let's spy on var2 as well. So any expression you like in there that comes to a boolean. So if you put brackets around it, you can use things like, a greater than sign between two integers, as integer 1 greater than integer 2. And as long as it gives you a true or false answer, you can put anything you like in between the if and the then. So use brackets, any expression, as long as it gives you a true false outcome, will work in there for boolean. So in here, we've got 1. Okay, so var1 is true. Now we've made it an AND, so var1 and var2 need to be true to make that lamp go true. So there it is, the lamp has come on. Now if we turn off the other one, it turns off. So there's our structured text. So that's a little simulate for structured text, so we know that bit of program works. So I'm going to add another one. Let's have a sequential function chart. So sequential function chart. So again, I'm going to call that SFC. So this is a very simple SFC. So in here, I'm going to make a couple of booleans, because you usually associate a boolean in each step that goes true with the steps. So I'm going to call this boolean 1 and a boolean of 2. So note, they're local to the sequential function chart. Okay. So it automatically gives us a beginning step. So this is step 1. Now with a sequential function chart, so I'm just going to auto hide this. So now you'll see Solution Explorer I can look at, pop out, toolbox. Here is the sequential function chart toolbox. So it's context aware, so it's changed to give us a transition. So we'll move that, so it automatically joins. So this is in as step 1, step S1. So if we wanted a 1, for example, the boolean to be a 1 while step 1 was on, we can add a boolean action. Okay, so we just pick 1 in here. So what this will do is give us, this will be true whenever step 1 is running. Okay, so we're going to need more than one step. I'm going to make 2 steps in here. So we'll have the toolbar, so we'll have another step. Okay, we'll have another transition, and then we're going to jump. So we're going to come off the end and we're going to jump back to, we're going to jump back to step 1. So you can choose where you jump to after this transition. So fairly simple, 2 steps. 1, so I'm going to add another boolean action in here. So this is 2, so we can see something turn on in now our spy list. So again, in the transition here, to put code in here, it's normally structured text in ISaGRAF here, so ST, it's after. So I'm going to want a timing one in here. So anything that you put in here, again, needs to come and have a boolean answer. So I just double clicked in that. So what I'm going to look in here is there's a couple of variables that come with structured text that are defined in the standard 61131. So there is always a step variable and it has a couple of different useful things. So if I type in S1, and I just hit S1 and then I hit a wee dot, it's going to give you a couple of different options. T tells you the time, and since that step has started, so it's a time variable. So the time spent since the step initiation, so you'll see that there. And the X, gives us the step activation indicator. So this is another indicator that the step is true. So this X, S1.x is always true when this step is is actually in and running. So we want the time, we want to know how long it's been running. So we'll take the t and we'll say when this time gets greater than, say, 5 seconds. Now there's a trick to time in ISaGRAF. You need to tell it its time. So you give it a t, and then you give it a hash, and that tells it that it's 5, that this 5 is a time, and then you use seconds to tell it that it's seconds. So what this is going to do is this is going to say this transition here is true, because when this timing bit goes greater than 5 seconds, it's greater than that, so we get a true, so it moves to the second step. Okay, so that's what this is doing. This is saying when the step has been running for a time greater than 5 seconds, move to the second step. So, and I'm just going to double click down here and pick up and put in, pretty much I'm just going to copy this and change it to being step 2. So we'll paste this, and we might make this one 10 seconds. So this is going to stay in one step for 5 and then the next step for 10. So we better change that to step 2. So we'll just roll those up. So this now should actually run. We've got step 1, we've got a boolean we can look at, we've got step 2, and we've got timing that can move through between them. So we'll give this a bit of, we'll try running this. So again, we can look at the variables. We may be able to add these to the spy list, but we'll try building this, make sure we don't get any errors. So we'll save it. So build succeed, nothing failed. So notice with the solution, as I've built each program, I've tested it, built it, make sure everything works before I move on to the next one. And this is a nice approach so that you don't go looking for errors in all your programs. So if you write one at a time, get it clean, get it working, then it makes it much easier to fault find the next one. So we'll simulate this. So we'll build it. So SFC. So we now got lots, and so you'll see up here that it's jumping between the steps. So I'm going to remove, I'm going to delete a few of these variables because we're full up, and we're going to put a few in here to have a wee look at. So let's have a look. Should be able to add 1 in here. Okay. So we should see this go true. See, that's gone true when we're in step 1 up there. So we're just looking at that, and then it's gone down and it's gone false as we've moved to step 2. So if I grab the variable 2, you should see them alternate. I'll just get rid of this one again. So you'll see them alternate. So if I looked in here at s1.t, we should, it's not going to let me see it. Okay. So again, this is why we put the booleans in here, so we can get an output. So you could use that boolean to drive a lamp, for example, or anything else. So if we move down the bottom, so I see counting to 10, 9, 10, bang, then jumps back up to step 1 and moves through. So there's an SFC working away quite happily. So we're going to stop debugging that. So again, Solution Explorer. So we know that works. So we're going to have a function block diagram here. So we have a function block. So prog1, again, it's defaulted to. So I'm just going to call this FBD. FBD. So there we have that. So the Solution Explorer's hid itself away again. So here it is, FBD. Local variables, again, can call it exactly the same as we've called it in the other ones. So if we've got a whole bunch open here, we might tidy up our tabs. So we'll close up our structured text and our ladder. So solution, we want to look at function block. So it gives us a blank sheet. So here we are. Toolbox. Note, the toolbox has changed again. So here you've got options for a variable. So we want a variable in here, so we're going to put a variable in. Now we don't have one, so function block forces us again to put one in like ladder does. It says you put a variable in, you need to give it a name and you need to give it a type. So it's a boolean. While I'm at it, I'm going to make var2 because we're going to need 2 of them, and we're going to call this lamp again. So cannot close, no idea. So, oh, I forgot to pick one, that's why. So var2, I'd forgotten to pick a variable. So we'll grab another variable. Always good to have a couple. So I'm gonna put a gate in here in a minute. So we'll have another variable. And here we now have var2 because I made it. Okay, so there we have. So I'm going to put a gate, so it's a block. So you get to choose what sort of block you're going to have. So you drop in a block and it gives you all of the different options you can have for function block diagram. So here it is, we've got our ands, we've got everything else, any's. So I'm going to do an or. So again, up the top you can type, so you can do an or. So here is the ors. So see, it's picked up. There it is. So we'll have 2 inputs. So you can have more than 2. You can have lots if you wanted, but the minimum's 2. So there we go. So, and now we draw the line. So we can just drag and click, and it's given us 2 ors. So if you hover, it gives us input 1, input 2 booleans, output is a boolean. So we're going to want another variable over there. So we'll grab the toolbox. So, or we could have a rung if we wanted. You can mix it up a little bit. We could put a rung in because it's function block, or we could have a direct coil out here. So we'll put a coil out here, and we're going to pick lamp. Okay, and then we draw from here to there. So now if we build this should work. So here we go. We build. Yes, we need to save it. So there we go, succeeded. We're in Simulate. So you'll notice again, if you go into the Solution Explorer and we pick the resource, you'll note over here, it's set to run always. So this is why it's working nicely for us. So we should be able to simulate this. Here we go. Yes, we'll build it, please. So here we go. So you'll see that 1 and 2 are still working. So the sequential function chart's still running in the background. So all of these are running. So we'll delete those. So var1, var2 currently false. So same again here. Add to the spy list, or down here we can choose var02. So it's gone to my first program. So over here we don't want that one. We don't want that one either. We get an option. I'm going to delete that. I think it's remembering ones we've had before, so I'm going to delete that one from the list. var2, first program. Nah. I'll ignore it for the moment. We'll grab this one. We'll add this one to the spy list. Oh, got an error. Spy list down here. Here we are. So confused it for a moment. var1, var2. So we've got them here. So now we can say tick. See, and the red has come up here. That one's gone true, and the OR has given us a red lamp on the output. So again, it's an OR. So that gives us either or. Turn it off, the lamp still stays on. So there's an interesting change to this. So if we stop this and edit it, and we go into the block and go into the block selector, we can change it. If we go down here and we look at one of the other ORs, look at the XOR, because this is really interesting. So if we go to the XOR and then we run it, so we've got our spy list. You see it took a little while to come back online. So if we tick 1, we get the lamp on. If we tick that off, the lamp goes off. If we tick the other one, it comes on. So we have a 1 on either input, we get the lamp. But if you tick both of them, the lamp goes off. That's why it's an exclusive OR. It's looking for one or the other, not both. So not 2 falses or not 2 trues. So it's a really interesting. I like the XOR. Can be very useful. So that's a very brief run through all the different options that are available here in ISaGRAF, simulating them. So the little wee tips and tricks. Remember, you need to have the box up here on simulation, and in your solution over here, make sure in your resource that you've got your online behavior here set to always or simulate. Otherwise, you're going to not have it execute correctly. So thanks very much. I hope you found it useful.